Hey, you guys are really nice and quiet tonight. But that's cool. That means I've got a good foundation to launch from. Hey, who is really stoked to be back at school? Who had an awesome holiday? Raise your hand. That's more like it. I can understand that one. Hey, I've really enjoyed... Ski trip! I did. I'll talk about ski trip later. I have really enjoyed, believe it or not, being back at school and talking to a bunch of people and sort of finding out what they've been up to. And having heard a bunch of stories, I suddenly got given some spam email, and as I looked at that email, I was reminded about some of the things that people talk to me about. So this is a total waste of time, but why don't you guys just quickly check out the screens to watch these two clips that I've stumbled across.
My name is Deputy Kimball. It's very good to meet you all. How are you all doing today?
Things we've had, scooter crashes on the oval and all the rest of it. This, you are in control of everything and that you're looking after us. I ask Father tonight as we get into your word that you would use this time to impact us, shape our thinking, and may we just remove all distractions from this place. So Lord, I just ask that you would connect with us tonight and would leave this place different, changed because we've had an encounter with you. In your mighty name I pray, amen. Okay, so, see I was going to talk about ski trip, I'm going to talk about ski, like just totally windy, just round and round and round, up the slopes. If you're sitting on the bus like this, right, and you look down, you literally at times would be looking down a gorge to trees and rocks and cliffs below. It was shocking. By the end of our trip, the end of that 2-hour trip, our bus was so stuffy, we'd run out of vomit bags, and you could just smell the vomit in the air. But get this, the worst feeling for me was not the smell of vomit. The worst thing for me was how close I was to throwing up through the entire trip along the ski slopes. Quick test, raise your hand if you've heard of turtling. Alright, I'm going to have to teach you guys. Lesson 101 with Mr. Harris, turtling. It's when you really got to go. Number 2. So what happens when you've got to go to number 2, and you're absolutely busting for it, is that the poo starts to make its way out. But, being normal human beings, you have muscle power, so you suck the poo back in. And that's what turtling is. When you're really busting, it's like out, in, out, in. And it's like a turtle's head bobbing in and out of the shell. Got turtling. True story, actually. I used to hate using the toilets at school to go number 2. There were a number of occasions I'd catch the bus home at about a 200-meter walk from the bus stop to my house. I used to call this the Turtle 22. The way it worked is you'd be busting for the loo, but you can't run, because if you run, you bounce right, and the turtle might just straight out. You lose muscle control. The other thing I used to try to do is walk slowly without bouncing. That doesn't work because you've been holding for ages. And what happens if you run out of muscle power? It just drops in. So, turtling's a serious issue. If you've ever experienced it, you realize turtling's no good. Back to ski trip. I was turtling. Not from this end, but from this end up here. Like, I was sitting there, and I just had to keep swallowing and just praying, Jesus, may the vomit not come up. Thing is, I was sitting next to Simon, actually, but on the other side there was an unnamed guy. And midway through this journey, he says to me, Mr. Harris, can you give me a spew bag? I gave him one of the last ones. Soon after this, all the spew bags went out. I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I'm going to be sick. Lucky he's got a spew bag. Then all of a sudden, he starts vomiting into this bag. Bag's about top of the microphone to the bottom of where my hand is. And I'm just watching this guy, and it looked like potatoes going in. Potatoes are tasty, man. And like this water stuff, it was yellow and white, and just kept going. Remember, the bag's on the top of the microphone to about where my hand is. He got it up to about there, and I was just like, man, that is nice stuff. Then I had a light bulb moment. I was like, wow, if he holds on to the spew bag, we are all out of spew bags. If he holds on to a spew bag, I can use it. So I'm like, hey, please don't throw that bag away. And I won't lie, his answer was less than impressive. He's like, don't worry, I'm not letting go of this bag. I'm like, yes, good answer. He's like, I might need it again. I was like, oh, problem. So we're driving, windy road, cliffs, etc., round and round and round, crazy town. About 10 minutes later, I am really struggling. I'm like, swallow it down, pumping in quickies to try and make myself feel better. I don't know if that works or not, probably doesn't. And this kid starts throwing up again, and I've got this catch-22 situation. What do you do when you've got one small bag, and the guy's got his face over it, and he's hurling, and you can see flecks of white stuff and yellow stuff. And it's like, should I like grab the bag off him and throw into his bag, and he can just, I've got a full load, he's got a mostly empty load, so surely it's better that he spews up on the bus. I spew up the bus. Or alternatively, I thought about, what if I pushed my head next to his head? We could spew into the same thing. Or, I had another plan. What if we could control our spew and he could go, wah, and then I could go, wah, and then he could, so we could take turns. That was a good plan. And I was thinking about this, and then it occurred to me. There's a problem with sharing spew bags, and it's not just the close proximity. What happened if someone has spit, and there was lots of it coming down his mouth, and what happens if that lands on me? Or what happens if I throw up some of my McDonald's, and it's chunky, not chewed properly, and you get splashed back onto my face or his face? The bus stopped. I got out of the bus. I did not vomit. Round of applause, please. Come on. I am definitely going on ski trip. I'm packing my own vomit bags. I'm also going to try get some drugs or something to make me not feel sick. Prescribed drugs, by the way, but other ones are bad. Anyway, I tell you this story for absolutely no reason. That story had no purpose other than to get a few of you going, ooh and ah, you did that, congratulations.